Groaners, welcome along to our Black History Month special. Be aware, although we will try to, not everything will be able to feature what the special is about. Your games this week are the 5 Pound Countdown, Yes or BS, and Admin Nicole's Anagram Anxiety. With that being said, let us get episode 103 underway, and props to Admin Nicole for doing extra research this week. It all starts off with my groans. Racism and racial profiling. I find it so stupid that racism, especially towards black people, still exists in this day and age. How shut off is your mind? Are you afraid that they'll make you look bad or something? Black people and other ethnic categories are just like the rest of us, human. As for looking upon someone as suspicious because of their skin colour, that is pathetic and doesn't mean they're gonna commit a crime or have committed a crime. Modern day slavery. It is 2024, bordering on 2025 last I checked. So why in the hell does a thing like modern day slavery still exist? Encouraging a poor immigrant or less well off person into a contract where they work for free in exchange for a roof over their head? This is wrong. If they're working for you, then they should be paid, etc., as well as being free and not oppressed. Inequality. Again, it is modern times, yet we still get cases where because someone is classed as inferior due to their skin colour, they are classed as being beneath the other person. We should live in a society where we are equals and stay that way going into the future. In the aforementioned groans, those who enable these things to happen drag us all down, and those that do that, you'll never learn or grow as a person. And again, for another week, I've groaned, got a bit soapboxy there maybe, hopefully I didn't. But later, I'll be reading out one of your groans, groaners. Admin Nicole has been hard at work this week, looking at the heroes of black history, and forever in podcast prosperity, we shall immortalise them even more now, with our first hero, and they are known as Sarah Rector, and she also doubles as our lucky for the discovery on her land. She was known as one of the first black female millionaires, if not the first in America. She was born in 1902 to African descendants of the Muskogee Nation. At the age of 12, she was granted 160 acres of land by the government under the Dawes Allotment Act of 1887. The land was about 60 miles from where she lived and quickly became a burden on the family. The taxes on land were expensive and the soil on the land wasn't suitable for farming. And in the February of 1913, an independent oil driller drilled a well on Sarah's property which ended up producing 2,000 barrels of oil a day. She ended up becoming the richest 12-year-old black girl in the States. By the time she turned 18, her net worth was around $1 million. In today's standards, that would equate to $11 million. She often enjoyed entertaining guests and seeing the finer things in life. However, unfortunately, she lost the majority of her wealth because of the Great Depression, and she unfortunately died later in 1967 from a stroke at the age of 65. There is work going on in this day and age to preserve and restore the Rector mansion she lived in to preserve her legacy. There'll be more heroes to come later as we now fall in line for the 5-point countdown. Are you ready, groaners at home? Yes, you are, because you're listening to this. Those that are listening along live, are you ready? Yes, you are. Clue 5 for 5 points. I am a type of music that has been around since the 1900s and 1920s, and I'm still going strong today. Groaners, at home and live, give me your answers, please. That's if you have any, groaners. They're typing. We've got jazz coming in. Okay. Moving on anymore. Someone's wrote. No, they're not. They're not typing. Clue 4 for 4 points. Of course, there is a type of dancing that comes along with me. Clue 4 for 4 points again. Of course, there is a type of dancing that comes along with me. Someone's wrote swing. Okay. Someone's wrote scat rap. I think you're thinking of a type of genre where they talk really, really quick, like the scat man back in the 90s. Okay, I see what you're saying, Groaner. Okay. Any more? Nope. Moving on. Clue 3 for 3 points. In modern media, in the 20th and 21st century, I am the name of a transformer, aka one of the Autobots. Let's say it again. Clue 3 for 3 points. In modern media, in the 20th and 21st century, I am the name of a transformer, aka one of the Autobots. Someone's wrote Blaster. Okay, try to think a bit more inside the box, Groaner, not outside the box. Okay, it isn't Soundwave either before anybody types that. Not even close. Yes, I know he don't transform into a cassette player, as does Blaster, but no, if you're doing that, you're barking up the wrong tree, Groaners. Clue 2 for 2 points. I brought forward the swing era of the 30s and 40s. Clue 2 for 2 points. I brought forward the swing era of the 30s and 40s. More Groaners have typed in jazz as we mention this. Any more? Lots more jazz coming through. Okay. Final clue. Clue 1 for 1 point. I have many influential people under my genre, including Louis Armstrong. And clue 1 more time. Clue 1 for 1 point. I have many influential people under my genre, including Louis Armstrong. If you type in now, Groaners, you've only got a couple more seconds to answer. That's it. All done for guesses, Groaners? Yep, alright then. You'll find out later where and if you got points. Moving us along comes another story of creepiness with admin Nicole's Creepy Corner. This week's story is called A New Mystery. Viola and Valencia walked the earth in an aimless direction for some time. Nothing to do and no specific destination in mind. All they could do was walk and talk. Creatures of all sizes that are nothing new to them, yet to Lionel and Dr. Quack it must have taken getting used to. They could only hope Gaia was safe enough. As they looked down at the barren wasteland, they could see flowers and grass starting to grow. A sign that Mother Nature was no longer dying, and a warning that was only a matter of time before Dr. Quack figured out why. The bubbles all over the place of new realms popping up and slowly merging into the earth made them smile. It was almost like the remnants of the bubble towns that were built to protect people during the Great War. If only they knew then what they would lead to. The small bubble realms were nothing more than pocket universes though, each with its own rules and its own way of life. A strange thing for the future to become, but maybe it was exactly what was needed for peace. Truly paving the way for peace, even if it meant separating some from others. At least this way, there was a place for everyone. Viola kept checking under every rock or every tree looking for any teeth she could find. Deep down she knew there had to be more to being a tooth fairy than just using teeth to protect people, like she was able to do when she blasted Dr. Quack with those burning teeth from the asylum. It was almost like she was never supposed to know, as if the true nature of a tooth fairy is never supposed to be revealed. They weren't having any luck finding the ghost parade either. No signs of death, and the animals of the night had no idea where they were either. They were at a loss, and they stood out too easy, even in a world like this. A tooth fairy and a girl who looked like she was plucked out of the night sky. If there was anyone around, they would talk and word would spread right back to Lionel. Valencia was in no state to be around them right now, even though she knew she had no idea what she would do if she ever saw them again. Maybe we're going the wrong way about this. Maybe we need to make death come to us, Viola said. The crows are already following us and keeping their distance because of the ravens who are also following us. I think we're on our own for this one, Valencia said. Standing on rocks not far behind them were an unkindness of ravens and a murder of crows. Both groups staring each other down, ready to fight at a moment's notice. Valencia tried to talk to the crows about finding death, but the ravens wouldn't let her. They didn't want her getting filthy by talking to lesser beings, as they put it. Viola, on the other hand, found the commotion rather amusing. It may have made matters difficult for them, but it was a nice change of pace to keep them distracted from the looming war. Just then, Viola tripped on what appeared to be a bone sticking out of the dirt. She started digging through the dirt looking for more bones, and to her delight, she found them. Where there's bones, there's a fossil, which means teeth. Valencia told her she probably shouldn't mess with such things, and there's no telling what creature this fossil even belonged to. Viola, however, was more interested in what she could do with it. The untold secrets of the Tooth Fairy were far too important to ignore. Valencia disagreed, but vowed to support her anyway. After digging up the whole fossil, Viola stood in front of it, raising her hand over the mound of bones as she tried to think of what would be good to say. She needed the teeth, but she was curious to know if she could make use of the bones too. She focused her energy on the teeth, first summoning them towards her as she knew she could. It was like a swirling vortex, and the teeth of this unknown creature flew towards her, swirling above the fossil. Viola wanted a more useful weapon than just teeth though, so she focused as hard as she could, and in an instant, her eyes went black and words started pouring out of her mouth in a voice that wasn't hers. Bones rose from the fossil and began to fuse with the teeth, creating a whip composed entirely of teeth with bones for a handle and black vines coming out of their hands to fuse it together. Other bones were snapped and reforged in front of Valencia's eyes and formed a small dagger. Then everything fell to the ground and Viola returned to normal, or at least mostly normal. When she asked what happened, Valencia was reluctant to explain, but she had to, as Viola's arm was wrapped in black vines, almost like they were suffocating her. Valencia couldn't cure it even with her powers. It was almost as if there was nothing wrong. That, however, could only suggest that a Tooth Fairy is supposed to have such vines attached to them. Viola promised not to try doing that again, but she was pleased with the outcome and how she now has a new weapon of her own to use. A burning sensation on her hand forced her to collapse into the ground, however. On the back of her left hand, the vines began to move as a mark was burning itself onto her hand. A black skull with a purple rose. Now, they had a new mystery on their hands. As Admin Nicole has done it once again and knocked the ball clean out of the park, we must visit upon heralding another hero for this month. Esther Jones. A largely Harlem-based jazz singer known as Baby Esther in the early 1900s, Jones became the inspiration for the cartoon character of Betty Boop, but never received a penny in compensation. Why? Well, you're about to find out. In her performances, she danced, made funny faces, and used the phrase boop boop ba-doop. But words of Jones's performance quickly swept across New York City, and it wasn't long before she was performing regularly at the Big Apple. Jones also had a booking agent named Tony Shane, who also booked another aspiring singer and dancer by the name of Helen Kane. As the Supreme Court of the State of New York would later find out, Kane was in attendance at the aforementioned Everglades nightclub performance where she had front row seats with Shane and Bolton. Jones's performance inspired Kane to merge it into her own act, an act that would forever be immortalised in the Betty Boop cartoons. Helen Kane also continued to swipe her whole act from Baby Esther and became infinitely more popular than the original article. In fact, she became so popular that when the Betty Boop cartoon got its debut in 1930, it all but totally mimicked Kane's style. Esther Jones was the original Betty Boop who had her act completely stolen, and she never, ever got a penny from it. With another hero honoured, we take things over to Why Oh Why. As much as I hate football, Groaners, I understand that people enjoy watching it, listening to it, and playing it. But it does boggle my mind, as a lot of players are foreign, especially black, and a lot of idiot spectators seem to create chance to target their opposing black players for getting their black players on their own teams. You look completely stupid, plus you ruin the enjoyment of the game for others, and more importantly, you upset the players. Racist chance of football games. I've just got to ask, why oh why? I said one of you get a chance later, Groaners, and that time has came. You now get one of yours read out with the audience groan. This week's is a groan that came in from BD of Cumbria via Discord message, and they groan: I really have a serious problem with people who cannot form a queue properly. You have the fools who queue where there is no queue, you have those who jump in a line as if the people behind them are a mirage, and then of course you have those who leave the queue to get something and think the person in front or behind them will keep their space. Is it too much to ask for people to just stand in an orderly line? Or however the queue goes? I despair. Thanks for letting me vent my groan. Well, BD, you raised a good point there, If you can't understand how a Q works, then you clearly don't have much hope in life. Cheers for the groan. If you want to send in your groan, your why, or your what the, your all one lucky story, or your hero, or Zero of the Week nomination, or your feedback, or whatever else you want to send in, you can do it in a myriad of ways. You can contact us via the trusty old email, which is thegroanzonepod@gmail.com. You can contact myself on Facebook Messenger, that's Mr. E. Groaner, or you can contact admin Nicole, also on Facebook Messenger, under the moniker of Nicole Amos. Speaking of Facebook, find Facebook groups, type in the Groan Zone podcast, you will find our Facebook group. And also, if you go on Discord, as well as listen to us live, every Friday night, usually at 8:30 Greenwich Mean Time, you can also join in the fun on there by just typing in the Groan Zone podcast. You can leave your comments, you can have messages, and join in the fun there. And lastly, of course, place a comment on any episode, and I'll pick it up, it'll be reviewed, and then be incorporated into a future show. Taking us along now is our third hero of this special, and her name is Ruby Bridges. And she was the first black child to enter an all-white school at the age of just 6, and that made her a household name. She was exposed to a constant racism, but she never missed a day of school. The racism took on many forms, from white parents homeschooling their children in protest, to Ruby having objects thrown at her. On one occasion, she was even greeted by a woman displaying a black doll in a wooden coffin. Ruby always bought her own lunch, as she was not allowed in communal spaces like the cafeteria or the playground, and often spent her breaks inside with her teacher. Whenever she needed to use the bathroom, she would be taken by a US Marshal who would also accompany her to and from school with her mother. A child psychiatrist by the name of Robert Coles, who was also white, saw what the girl and her family were going through, as both parents lost their jobs over this, and he offered to help them. He conducted weekly visits to check on her and her family. Barbara Henry, who was one of the teachers, also began to advocate for Ruby's inclusion with other students. By the time her second year came in the school, she was allowed to be in class with other students, and she wasn't any longer the only black child in the school. Time had slowly begun to move forward and change, but nothing was perfect. Ruby Bridges' courage cannot be understated. Her impact has far surpassed her first steps into William Frantz Elementary School in November of 1960. To this day, she's remained a vocal advocate for anti-racism and encourages kids to make meaningful connections with peers of all races. She's also upheld the legacy of her parents, a-thon and Lucille Bridges, her first grade teacher Barbara Henry, and child psychiatrist Robert Coles, all of which sought to provide her with a solid foundation to bring about change. She continues to pave the way for generations to come through her various advocacy efforts. Now, Groaners, another game is upon us in the form of Yes or BS. Those that are playing live, you're ready. Those at home, you're ready. Just to explain Yes or BS, if you lose your points in this game, Groaners, your other points in any other game that we play are safe. Okay? Moving along now. Round 1. Option A. Rosa Parks was the first black woman to stage a sit-in protest. Option B. 1 in 4 cowboys were black. Or C. Dr. Martin Luther King improvised the most important part of his I Have a Dream speech. Go, Groaners, give me your answers, please. Those at home, pause, have a think, answer, unpause. We've got loads of B's flying in there. Few C's coming in. Oh, and A's coming in. We have a spread, Groaners. Okay, any more? More B's, more C's. Okay. Moving on now. Round number 2. A. Black history began in the 15th century. B. The Quakers were not the first to protest slavery. C. Mancala was an ancient African game. Groaners Live, answers please. Those at home, pause, have a think, unpause. A's flying in. More A's flying in. Any more Groaners? More A's flying in. And a B coming in there. Okay. Any more? Nope. Last round, round 3. Option A. Africans were the first people to initiate mining. B. Africa is called Mwiniti, Mbala and Ernog in different parts of the Bible. Or C. The 12th Amendment in the USA officially made slavery illegal. Groaners Live, answers please. Those at home, pause, have a think, unpause. We've got... oh, across the board. A, B's and C's came straight in there. Any more? More B's, more C's, more A's. Okay, I hear you loud and clear, Groaners. Alright, okay. You'll find out later on if you got blanked or scored points in this game, Groaners. You've just got to keep track of what you answered with. Our last hero of this special show is named Clara Bell Williams, and she dedicated her life, education as a teacher, lifelong student and devoted mother. Many of her professors wouldn't even let her inside the classroom. She would take notes into the hallway and wasn't even allowed to walk with her class to get her diploma. She took her courses at the University of Chicago and then enrolled at the New Mexico College of Agriculture and Mechanic Arts in the autumn of 1928. She taught at Booker T. Washington School in Las Cruces, New Mexico for more than 20 years, during when Las Cruces public schools were segregated. While teaching, she was taking courses only offered during the summer and graduated with a bachelor's degree in English from NMCA and MA in 1937 at the age of 51. In an interview in 1980, Mrs. Williams recalls that commencement ceremonies were cancelled after a group of students refused to walk with her. She received her diploma through the registers under. By day, she would teach black students. By night, she taught their parents and even former slaves. Clara Bell Williams went on to receive many honours during her lifetime. She succeeded despite significant obstacles of discrimination placed before her while pursuing her higher education. In 1961, Williams Street was named in her honour in New Mexico State University. She received an honorary doctorate of law degree from NMSU in 1980. All three of her sons also went to college and graduated with medical degrees. Sadly, she passed away on July the 3rd, 1994 at the age of 108. These heroes are phenomenal. The things they've had to overcome, I couldn't dream of overcoming. And it just shows what you can do when you put your mind to things and just keep pushing. Now we move on to our last game of the show. Yep, it's here again. It's Admin Nicole's Creepy Corner. Oh, no, it's not Creepy Corner. It's Admin Nicole's Anagram Anxiety. Sorry, Groaners. Wow. Okay. Ready to push your grey matter, Groaners? Your anagram is Clone Cultivated. Your clue, the original Rosa Parks. Good luck, Groaners. We have no hero of the week this week, as we've listed off our forever heroes earlier in the show. However, if you preach racism or anything like that, then sorry, you're most definitely a zero and not just for the week. This neatly brings us to the game answers, starting off with last week's Where the Hell Am I? The place I was looking for was India, and that building is the regional office for the National Fisheries Development Board, which is located near Hyderabad. Yes or BS answers now. If you went for option B or option C, you're correct. If you went for option A, you got no points. Round 2. If you went for option A, you have been blanked. Black history began in the 16th and 17th century with the arrival of Africans to North America. If you went for option B, false. They wrote their official protest in 1688, which made them the first group to protest officially slavery. And if you went for option C, Mancala was an ancient African game, that's true. It was played by ancient Africans. Round 3. If you went for option A, you've still got points. If you went for B, however, that's false. Africa in the Bible was called Kush, Cushitic, and Cushy. But if you went for option C, the 12th Amendment in the USA officially made slavery illegal, that's wrong. It was actually the 13th Amendment. Lastly, the 5-point countdown. Of course, loads of you groaners got this one. It was actually jazz. Did you score points in the games, groaners? Or did you not? I hope you did get points, groaners. And before we go, just a quick message. Be kind to each other, no matter your colour. We're all in the same race, and that's the human one. We'll see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye. Welcome to our Black History Long.